When growing a reselling business, one problem hits every single reseller eventually, and that is space. And that's where I am now. I've been growing my little clothing business, reselling business, from my house in what I can only describe as our old dining room. It's basically been converted into what you're looking at now, which is my studio for creating all my content and for listing all the products on my Mac, which is right in front of me here, taking photographs in the photograph area, which I've done a video on as well, and I will link it down below if you wanted to watch that. But inevitably, I've run out of space. I've only got about 118 products listed for sale, and I'm overflowed. And if you don't believe me, this is what I'm dealing with on a regular basis, because if I pan the camera down, here's all the items that I've got up for sale, and they're not just there, they're also in boxes underneath the photography area. Now, I know what you're thinking and I know what you're going to be saying. Let me just get that camera sorted. Matt, you've got a warehouse. Your business has got a nice big 12,000 square foot premises. Why don't you use that? You would be right, but that is my main business. This is my personal vintage clothing business that I set up in February with an aim of setting it up from brand new and growing it as big as I could, as if I was new to reselling, and documenting the journey that somebody would go through when deciding to get into reselling. And that is always starting from home, growing a business, expanding to different marketplaces, and then coming across the hurdles that you come across when you're launching a business, which inevitably is sourcing stock, growing into different platforms, space. And that's what this video is starting off all about, space. I know that I've got to sort this room out so it works a little bit better. I will point out that my company's warehouse, I have got plans to build a huge mezzanine which will take overflow stock from my tech business, but also have an area for the clothing stuff. So whatever I'm doing now is kind of temporary, but it kind of mimics what you would do if you were getting into reselling, or you've done while you've been growing a reselling business. Now, what am I going to be doing? Well, I've got to move around this studio office working area so it's more productive. I'm going to push my table that way a little bit because I have got about a foot worth of space I can gain by moving the desk that way a little bit. I'm changing my photography setup, which it might be a little bit controversial, but I actually think it's going to work better, and we'll go over that in a second. I've also bought some racking, just a shelving system, which I can fit about 10 of my storage boxes on, which will get everything off the floor and stop me tripping over on it and stop me getting footprints on the clothing that I've got for sale. That's going to be a big thing. Now, I think the first place to start is with that behind me, because the flat lay setup, it takes up so much room. Now, I did a video probably about 3 months ago about how I've set up my photography area. Again, as I said earlier, I'll link it down below. And I opted for a kind of like a flat lay area. Now, what I've got in, I'm going to spin the camera around so you can have a look. I have got a desk with a little batten on it, and then I've got some MDF board. Apologies, the dog is barking because I've just sounded like I am knocking on the door. I've got a white cloth on there, and it's some MDF board, and I flat lay. I've got a light, and I've got a light which, let me just turn this one on. There we go. This one would normally be around that way, and let's get the brightness up on that. And that's basically how I would do it. But I definitely think that needs to change, and I'm going for something that's just gonna make the space a little bit more usable, but it's still gonna give me good photographs. I'm ditching the flat lay board. I'm ditching it. The lights are staying, and I'm ditching the flat lay board for those. I tell you what, let me show you. Okay, so that is basically how I've had the setup ever since I've been selling clothing really, flat laid on a little fleecy to give it a little bit of texture. I photographed it and it's a nice clean background and it looks good. But as you can see, let me just wheel this out of the way. That's how much space I am losing behind the flat lay. You can see, sorry that's in the way. Let me see if I can get this out of the way. There we go. That is how much space I am losing. So it projects out a fair bit. So with much deliberation, we are changing this to that. Now, all I've basically used is a hanger, which is on one of those sticky things that you can easily take off. I will be getting a better hanger other than a black one. I'll probably just get a nice wood one. And then the item can just hang on a grey background. So let me give you my reasoning behind why I've now opted to have this as my setup. Oh, and I have still lit it with 1, 2 lights, and there is a natural light up there as well to give a little bit more ambient kind of light into everything. Okay, so let's talk through the whys. There's a couple of reasons why that I've decided to do this. One, space. I've got back a load of space, and when I'm not using these lights, I can literally just put them away both sides, and I've got even more working space, which is really, really important when you are working from home. If you're working in a warehouse or if you're working in a unit and space isn't an issue, it's a lot easier to manage. But I'm working in a relatively small room for running a business, and space is a priority. Second, the coat hangers, it displays the clothes absolutely fine, and actually, I prefer it to flat laying. I sometimes have issues when I flat lay a shirt with long sleeves or a hoodie to get everything positioned right so it looks natural. On here, I think it looks natural. It looks good anyway. I mean, and plus, how easy is it to put something up to photograph? I just do that. And yeah, I might need to move things around. I might get some hidden kind of clips that I can just position things a little bit better. But all I need to do is put the product on a coat hanger and hang it on here. And when I'm done, take it off and hang it back on my rail. There we go, boom, it's ready to take photographs of. And it looks fine. It looks really good. And thirdly, and this is probably going to be one of the most controversial points, because I've been an advocate for white background photographs, and I still am in 90% of the cases. But for clothing, vintage, used, pre-loved clothing, I don't necessarily think it's so vitally important to have a white background photo. This is on a neutral grey, and actually being a neutral grey will allow me to expose my image on a neutral basis, so it picks up the correct colours of the products that I'm photographing, so when they are online for people to buy, it's a true representation of the colours that they're actually getting. Now, I used to be a photographer back many, many years ago, and I always used to carry a neutral density card that I used to take my white balance against. So when I was taking portraits or I was taking product photography, I knew that the colours in my photograph, on the raw image photograph, were absolutely spot on, and it meant less post-processing of photographs. Exposing on this neutral grey wall, which is the reason why I painted it this colour, so I'd get a good colour representation when I'm creating videos or when I'm taking photographs. Exposing against this wall will mean that the colours in my photographs that I put up on Vinted, Depop and eBay and our own Shopify store will be true to life as close as possible. So they're the 3 main reasons. What do we think? Give me some feedback. What do we think? I'm happy. I think it's going to speed up my process. I think the photographs are going to look good. I think I'm going to get back some more space and things are going to be easier to manage. But let me know in the comments, what do you think of that photo setup? And just like that, we are done. It took about an hour and a half to get everything sorted the way that I want it. You can see a different layout. I'll swivel the camera around. I'm not going to show you that side of the room because it's a mess. but the working side of the room looks bang on. So here we go. Right, I have got a new storage unit. That's currently got all of my boxes, not all of them, I still need more boxes. We've kind of rammed some stuff in here and up there, which we're not going to talk about. But we've got a rack in now, so they're all off the floor and they're all in some form of order. Some. So, we've still got the rail with all the clothes. There's not much on there to list at the moment, but they're there. There's a double rail of stuff that needs to be put up. We've got the photography area, and I'm doubling up my desk as a place to sit while I'm taking photographs. We've then got desk. We've got a little bit of a backdrop behind, and this is kind of like the angle that you'll see when I'm doing my content. And overall, I'm pretty happy. I've got no lights lighting me this way. That's because I had them lighting the clothing area, but they are just going to swivel. And on cue, nice little cha-ching from eBay, thank you very much. So yeah, I've got no lights on me this way. I'm probably going to get a nice big softbox to go there to light this area. So it's a little bit dark. I have got my light above, which is giving me a little bit of light, but I've got some options. And it's a small room, and we have to make do with the room that we've got. And I think this will last me until my mezzanine is built in January, February, March of next year. So for the next 6 months, this is home, and I'm happy. I just don't like working in a mess. And now I feel, sorry about the shadows over there, sorry about the poor lighting anyway, but now I feel at least I can crack on, get work done, the flow's gonna be good, and we're gonna be neat and tidy. As I said, I'm not showing you, well, I tell you what, look, here we go. Yeah, let's turn that back around, because that's just, we're gonna pretend that doesn't exist. Let's just come over here. Let's just ignore that. We don't want to look. We don't want to look at that. It's a mess. But yeah. So that's it for today in here. Happy. Formula One Grand Prix qualifying's on. I'm going to go and watch that, and I'm still not looking over there. It's looking at me. So what we're going to do now is we're going to jump back a couple of weeks, when I was invited, me and my business partner and my lovely fiancée, Nikki, were invited down to London by eBay and Small Business Britain to get involved in this big policy sustainability 24-hour event, which basically saw us have 3 different, well, I'll tell you what, I'll let past me explain, but here's us down in London from a couple of weeks ago. We have checked in to the hotel, ready to chill for an hour before going out. Now, the hotel has got a little bit of a mouthful. Nikki, what's it called?
The Westminster London Curio Collection by Hilton.
It's a Hilton hotel, basically, but it's beautiful. It is actually really nice, and I'm going to show you around in a minute. But one of the first things to point out is we were given a free gift. We walked in and we saw this little eBay bag on the table, and I'm going to show you exactly what's in it. But before I do, here is a little bit of a tour of the room. It's laid out a little bit different because there's not an actual bathroom. Well, you walk in through the front door and you walk into the kind of bathroom, but let me show you. So here is the front door to the room, and then instantly you get hit up with your sink area and a nice lit mirror area, which is nice. It's got 3 parts to the mirror, and you can see all the way around. Another toe-to-top mirror there, and you've got a big area of storage and an iron, which is good because I need to iron a top. Then you've got 2 kind of almost look like health and fitness center rooms. The first one is the toilet, which is extremely nice with marble floor and walls. And then the next one, as you can probably guess, is the shower. I'm looking forward to using that because it's got like a rainfall head to it. So that looks super nice. Then we get to the main part of the room. Nice TV on the wall, all kind of wooded out, nice bed. Nicolloid in the corner, rocking out after the 45-minute walk to get to the hotel because the tubes are on strike. We have a little bit of a tea and coffee making facility. Let's see what the view's like at the window. So there we go, we're quite high up. We're on the 9th floor. It's just high rises basically everywhere. So view is okay, but there we go. That's how high we are up. Woohoo! And when we walked in, we saw that. So this was on our little table as soon as we walked in. Not expecting anything from eBay, so this is a really cool surprise. There's a couple of boxes in here, so let's have a look and see what we've got. We have got a nice, that's a bit bigger than, is that an A5? It's not an A4, but it's a bit bigger than an A5, but a nice kind of eBay branded notepad. And I'm assuming, yeah, a pen. Your favourite colour? We got 2 boxes. We have got a Voyager stainless steel drinky thing, eBay branded, nice H2O. I think it's got some form of inner in it to keep it cold. And then we've got, oh hang on, we got another pen, we're okay. And then we've got this, Starline building your brand. Now I've had a few things from eBay in the past, never had a box like this. No way. Look at this. This is an eBay branded speaker with different kind of controls at the front. It is a Bluetooth speaker. Oh my God. How cool is that? So there we go. That was in our little box for coming down and being part of this 24 hours, and I'll go into a little bit more detail about it. Once I've taken my shoes off, because my feet are killing me after that 3-mile walk, and who knows, I might even put some music on my new speaker. Okay, so now I've shown you around the room, which I have to say is absolutely amazing. I probably should tell you why we're down in London for the next 24 hours. Well, both Nikki and I have been invited down by eBay to take part in something called their Advocacy Day. Now for us that starts a little bit earlier. We have a series of 3 meetings. One tonight's Tuesday today. We're going out for a kind of dinner meeting tonight. Then we've got one in the morning and then something in the afternoon. So tonight's dinner first is a select group of sellers and also a range of UK and global leadership members from eBay to basically sit around, have some food, talk about things like policy, sustainability, business in general, and to highlight things that really matter to us as sellers on the platform. Then we move on to tomorrow morning and we are invited to a ministerial breakfast roundtable. And again, that is a select number of sellers. There are some higher members of eBay and Small Business Britain in attendance. And the guest of honour is Lord Leong, who is the Minister for the Department of Business and Trade. And again, the whole idea of this ministerial breakfast roundtable is to get important people round a table with eBay sellers and parts of Small Business Britain to talk about policy and things that really matter to us. And then finally for Wednesday from just after 12 o'clock till 2:30, there is a session called the Seller Reception, which lots more eBay sellers have been invited to. Members of the Side Hustle Lab, that was a program put on by Small Business Britain, are going to be there. And there's going to be some ministers there. There's going to be the hierarchy of eBay there. We've actually got a little stand there as well. And we're going to listen to some talks. There's going to be some networking. The ministers are going to come around and meet with the sellers. So yeah, that's why we're down here. I've done a lot of things with eBay over the last sort of few years, but this is probably one of the most high profile things that we've been invited down to as people and as a business, which we're really thankful for. And then we've got a month's break before the eBay Open, which I'm involved with the eBay Open again, and I'm really looking forward to that, but I'm going to tell you more about that on an up and coming video. But now it is 10 to 4. We have got to meet just about 6 o'clock for the business lunch this afternoon. So, cup of tea, quick shower, get changed, and then we'll head on out into Westminster. And that's all I really managed to capture from the day, because I wasn't going down there to shove a camera in people's faces. I was going down there as a representative of my business to talk about important things that matter to us and things that we want to see changed. And to be fair, it was a cracking day. From the minute we got down there at 6 o'clock, we went for the business lunch. And from that moment until the moment we stepped on the train at about 4 o'clock, it was just non-stop, full on quality conversation with people that I wouldn't normally get to speak to. It was great hearing from other sellers, hearing their standpoints, their struggles, their successes, and it was really great to get in front of people. There was representatives from Number 10, there was a representative from the Treasury, there was ministers, there were policymakers, all in the room alongside eBay and Small Business Britain, the type of people that I'd never usually get to talk to. So I hope what we said and what our fellow sellers said was taken on board, and it resonated to a degree, and it will be fuel to try and change some things that we feel need changing. But anyway, cracking day, really enjoyed it. So from us to Small Business Britain to eBay to all of those people in attendance, thank you very much for inviting us. We absolutely loved it. And we move on to the next thing, which of course is going to be the eBay Open on the 1st of October. Is anybody going to the eBay Open at the NEC on Birmingham? If you are, pop it down in the comments, because I will be there and I will be on stage for a small period of time, and I'm going to cover off what I'm doing in next week's video. But it's exciting and I'm a bit nervous, but I'm excited. I will also be on a stand with my fellow eBay Business Meetup leaders. We've got our own stand. So if you're in attendance, please, please, please come across and say hello. If you don't know what eBay Meetups are, they are eBay Meetups for business sellers, ran by business sellers. eBay fund it and support it, but it's purely run by sellers. And it was originally started last year by two amazing sellers called Rachel and Lindsay, who run the Manchester chapter. Are they called chapters? Locations? I don't know what they're called. But anyway, they came up with the idea. They ran their first one last year, and it's just morphed into this beast. And we've got several up and down the country, and they are free to attend. Again, they're run by sellers for sellers, and there's usually 2 hosts per meetup. I'm a co-host of Birmingham with Emily from the Fluffy Cow vintage and pre-loved clothing reseller, and we put on an event every kind of quarter. Our next one, unfortunately, it's sold out at the moment, but it's coming up in October. We'll then be looking to either January or February for our first one of 2026. You can find out the seller meetups in Eventbrite. Just search for eBay seller meetups and you'll find them all there. There's bound to be one near you, and they're springing up absolutely everywhere. So yeah, there'll be a stand at the eBay Open for eBay seller meetups. Please come and say hello. I should be on the stand, I think, between 11 and 11:30 or 11:30. I think 11 to 11:30. But we'll have a little pin badge on so you can see us and you can come and chat to us about anything to do with eBay, anything to do with seller meetups. So now I've got this room how I want it, apart from that bit over there, which we're not gonna touch. Don't talk too loud, it will hear us. Anyway, now we've got this area sorted, and look, the backdrop for my video content creation area is bang on. We can get back to the normal run-of-the-mill stuff, which is sourcing products, getting it listed, getting it sold, making some money, growing our clothing business. And that's what I'm going to come off in next week's video, because we're probably at around 20 minutes already, and I don't want you guys falling asleep on me. So next week's video is going to be all about what stock I've brought in and sold and what money we've made. As you've probably seen if you're following this channel, I've done 2 unboxing videos, 3 unboxing videos actually since my last financial catch-up. Stuff that came from Lynch and Fleek and Italian Vintage Wholesale. They have started to sell, which I'm happy about, and I'm going to cover that off in next week's video. It's going to be a video purely about finances, where we're up to, how big we've grown the business or how small the business is, and what the plans are moving into Q4. So, thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate it. If you've made it this far, please give this video a thumbs up because, as I say every video, it's the only way YouTube know that people are interested in the videos I make, and then they will place it in front of other people who are looking for this type of content. And also, if you haven't already, because 67% of you now aren't subscribed. So some of you have subscribed. I appreciate it. We're up to over 2,000 subscribers now. We need to be hitting 10,000 as soon as possible. Come on, help me get to 10,000 subscribers. Hit that subscribe button, follow on with the journey, tap the bell icon, you'll be notified of all my videos whenever they get released. We're also going to be starting to put out the midweek content again, which is purely going to be tips and tricks. Purely tips, tricks, how to make money on eBay. The vlogs are going to be kept to the weekend. So, thank you very much for watching. Keep sourcing, keep making money, and I'll see you on the next video.